Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. You are welcome to the next edition of our online classes. This is Islamic College Osogbo, and the subject we are taking is chemistry. We have been looking at solutions to selected past questions for the past few lessons now. Today, the area we are going to is industrial chemistry. And as usual, we are going to look at the concepts first. So the brief explanation of the concepts are as follow. Definition of the term. A chemical industry is an industry in which the knowledge of chemistry is applied to convert raw materials to finished products that are useful to man. And there are different types of products that are produced in these industries, and based on that we classify chemical industry into various types. But before we go into the chemical industries, let's look at the different types of chemicals that we have. We have heavy chemicals. Heavy chemicals are those that are produced in large quantities and to a less degree of purity. Examples of heavy chemicals are tetraoxosulfate 6 acid, trioxynitrate 5 acid, hydrochloric acid, ammonia, sodium hydroxide, bleaching powder, all forms of metal. Like it means extractive industry are heavy chemical industries. All forms of metal, calcium tricarbonate 4, and so on like that. These are chemicals that are required in large quantities. They are needed in most companies, in almost all chemical industries. They are produced by standardization reaction. That is, the standardized process are used in producing them, and they are usually produced in crude states. Their production usually lead to a generation of wastes, more waste than compared to the other type of chemicals, which are called fine chemicals. And the other type of chemicals that are produced in the chemical industry are called fine chemicals. Fine chemicals are produced in small quantities, but to a high degree of purity. Examples are sweeteners that are included in food additives, drugs, perfumes, dyes, cosmetics, photographic reagents, and so on like that. These are materials that are needed in as pure form as possible, and they are produced in commercialized facilities for use in specialized applications. That is, they are not needed in all industries, and the process by which they are made generate less waste compared to that of heavy chemicals, and they are used less, but they are more expensive compared to heavy chemicals. It means heavy chemicals are more expensive than fine chemicals. Now, there are different forms of chemical industries, like you should have been aware based on your knowledge, those areas that you have covered in the past. Well, some of them are fertilizer industry. So, like the name appears, fertilizer industries produce fertilizers, and the most common among fertilizer industries are nitrogen based fertilizers like NPK, ammonium tetrasulfate 6, urea, ammonium tricarbonate 4, liquid ammonia, and so on. This should not surprise you, since we all know that nitrogen is one of the mostly required elements in soil by plants, and it is a macronutrient that is required in heavy quantity by plants. So if nitrogen is deficient, if a soil is deficient in nitrogen, plants will not do well. Therefore, we need nitrogen based fertilizer to raise the fertility of the soil, or to improve the fertility of the soil. We also have petrochemicals. Petrochemicals are chemicals that are derived from crude oil by fractional distillation. when fractional distillation is carried out on crude petroleum, you know that we get different products like natural gas, petrol, kerosene, diesel oil, and so on like that. Each of these is called petrochemical because they are chemicals that are derived from petroleum, and they have a lot of applications. Among the applications that they are used in plastic, they are used in production of rubber, synthetic rubber, and synthetic fibers, among others. In fact, today, petrochemicals are also applied in the production of detergents. Then we have pharmaceutical industry. The pharmaceutical industry produces medicines which are of biological importance, like aspirin, like adenocorticotropic hormone, which we call ACTH, and so on like that. We also have glass industry. Glass is defined as a viscous, supercooled, transparent liquid. It does not have fixed melting point, and that is why glass shatters when there is too much supply of it, either from inside or from its outside. Soda glass is the most common glass that we use, and it is produced by heating a mixture of calcium tricarbonate 4, sodium tricarbonate 4, and silica. Silica is also called sand, and it's chemically called silicon 4 oxide, SiO2. When these three substances are mixed together and heated to a very high temperature, the liquid obtained is what we call glass, and it can be molded into any shape to obtain the glass required. But when we require glass of special features, then we introduce some other additives into the mixture. Like if we want our glass to be green in color, we use chromium 3 oxide. If we want our glass to be brown in color, we use iron 3 oxide, and so on like that. Also, when we want Pyrex glass, we use boron oxide together with our mixture. This will result into Pyrex glass. Pyrex glass has higher ability to withstand heat and chemical attack, and it is more often used in laboratory than ordinary glass. Then we have the ceramics. The ceramics industry. A ceramic is usually made by heating clay to a very high temperature. Clay is aluminium trisilicate 4, the ordinary clay that you obtain. So it is aluminium trisilicate 4. When this is heated and molded into the required shape, then we have a ceramic material. But today, due to advancement in knowledge, in scientific knowledge, artificial ceramics are being made, and artificial ceramics are used in making tiles, in making bricks, in making potteries, and so on like that. Then, as a result of advancement as well, Ceylon, which is a new durable ceramic, has been developed, and it is produced on silicon, aluminium, oxygen, and nitrogen. It's very strong and durable. As strong as it is also very light. The lightness of aluminium is imparted onto it, and with that, it means our ceramic material can easily be carried from one place to the other. So it combines the properties of strength, durability, and portability in one material. We also have the cement factory or the cement industry, which we have learnt when you are talking about calcium as a metal. And you remember that cement is made by heating limestone with clay. So, and cement is a chemical substance comprising of calcium and aluminum silicate 4. The calcium comes from limestone, while the aluminum silicate 4 comes from clay. Refer to your notes on calcium where we discussed cement for more details. Then we have the soaps and detergents industry. Soaps are made by the process called saponification, which is also defined as a alkaline hydrolysis of fats and oil, and that happens when oil or fat is heated with alkali. So you also have a note on this when we are talking about soaps and detergents, the reaction of fats and oils. So you refer to your notes for detail on that as well. So the type of oil used in making soap determines some of the properties of the soap. For example, if coconut oil is used in saponification, the soap that will be obtained will be more soluble in water compared to using other vegetable oils. Chemical plants. The process of chemical production usually leads to environmental pollution, which can be air pollution, land pollution, or water pollution. Each of these type of pollution can be prevented by taking some measures during production, and one of the precautions that can be taken include replacing energy consuming operational practices with energy saving processes. We can use alternative materials like substances that can replace chlorofluorocarbon instead of using chlorofluorocarbon. We all know that chlorofluorocarbon is a pollutant that can cause greenhouse effects as well as depletion of ozone layer, which will in turn lead to global warming. But if we use its substitutes in our production, then we will be safe from that pollution. Another means of preventing or avoiding pollution caused by chemical industries is using alternative source of energy. Instead of using coal as a source of energy, for example, or using liquid fuel as a source of energy, we can use gaseous fuel. We can use energy, solar energy. We can use hydrogen energy from hydrogen as well. Then we can regulate the waste management and enforce legislation to prevent pollution. Then one other means of preventing or reducing the effects of pollution caused by industrial activities is public education. If everybody is aware of the danger inherent in causing pollution and means of preventing them, then we would be safe from pollution from industrial effluents. Now, as a prospective chemical industrialist, what are the factors you consider in citing an industry? In citing an industry, one of the factors include proximity to source of raw materials. If, for example, you want to cite a cement factory. A cement factory is suitably sited as close as possible to where limestone can be mined, because limestone is the major raw material. Ditto for any other type of industry you want to start. So we have to consider nearness to source of raw material. Then we have to consider energy supply. If we are far from the source of energy, for example, electricity, if there is no enough supply of electricity at our proposed industrial site, then we will be consuming too much, we will be spending too much on alternative source of energy. So we have to consider regularity of electricity, for example, or any other form of energy, maybe fuel or whatever that we require to run our chemical plant. Then we have to consider human resources. Do we have enough human resources that can work both as professionals or as laborers, where we want to cite our industry, so that our industry will not run at a loss. Then we have to consider transportation cost or transport cost to transport some of the raw materials that may not be readily available at the site of production, or to transport our products to market. Then we have to consider nearness to market as well. So it's another factor. Proximity to market, that is where we can easily sell our products. If our product is being produced where they are not needed, that means we have to incur other expenses to transport the products far to where they are needed. Then we have to consider proximity to water source or nearness to water source. So because there is hardly any chemical industry that does not require water as one of its raw materials, or in order to run its plant. So if water supply is not around our source of our chemical plant, then they'll be running at a loss. So it's one of those things that we have to consider. Then we have to consider the conducivity of the climate. If the climate is not conducive for our production, some people cannot work, or majority of people cannot work under unfavorable climate. So it's one of those things that we have to consider. We have some countries in the world where temperature can be as low as minus some 10 degrees, and we have some areas in the world where temperature will always be on the high side. So we have to consider some of these things in inciting our industry. The other area that we need to look at under industrial chemistry is biotechnology. Biotechnology is the process by which biological processes are applied in the production of materials for human use. Example of biotechnological processes are brewery, fermentation, local production of food, production of organic fertilizers, pest control by biological means, then drug production. So all these things are biotechnological processes. So any process that involves the use of organic material or living material or microorganism before it can take place is called biotechnology. Then we have biogas production. It's also a biotechnological process. Biogas is a fuel that is obtained from anaerobic decomposition of organic waste, and it is a mixture of methane and carbon dioxide. Then we have bioremediation. Bioremediation is also a biotechnological process, and it is a process by which microorganisms are used to remove pollutants from a contaminated area. May Allah grant you understanding of this lesson. Inshallah, because of our time, we will not be able to proceed beyond here. Next class, we are going to look at some past examination questions on this area, and we are going to look at the solution together. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Please make sure you check your portal for your assignments. But the question that we are going to find here is to define bioengineering. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Or genetic engineering.